Okay, so I think this is part three. On the day follow of putting stocks in positions. All right, section 19M. On the day following J, we went through this. K cancels position I. What? Position one. So K cancels position one. One is bear rally. I'm sorry, bull rally, and it cancels it because it's climactic. And at resistance, what resistance level? Oh, the level right here. So right here, if it was overbought, price objective was reached, climax plus confirmation, and support and resistance level. Bang! Right into support resistance with the climax. So yeah. Now it's neutral again. The bull rally is cannot say it's going to continue. It gets into position 3 here. Why? Because of it goes from 1 to 3. Bull rally from here to here, and here enters position 3 for reaction. We have no indication. Let's see. We have no indication as to how far it will react, except to estimate that it may go halfway back to 30. So just remember the halfway back rule, all the time after a rally. However, as we suspect the stock is under accumulation, we surmise the operator is more likely to let it go all the way back to 30 or thereabouts there. He probably will prefer to let it appear dull and weak for a while in order to shake out any outside following attracted by the run up to K. So this is let's do 3. So what? Okay, so we're basically putting it in position 3. So what is 3? Bear rally. At L, it goes to neutral position. Okay. At L, it goes to neutral position here. Right here, we'll say it's in neutral. Neutral. All right. So M, it exhausts itself on the dip to support with no offerings. And here it goes into position 1. Not position 1, it should be 2. Oh, wait a second. Currently put it in position 1 on strength of these bullish indications. Alright, bottom line, 1 is the rally. So it goes here. Fucking kids. Anyway, it goes down, exhausts itself at support. You put it. Hold on. Alright, so just to at this point, let's just go over it. So market rally, selling climax and a reversal bar, top of the rally. So put it in position 3. It goes down, gets oversold at support, climactic movement. Put it in position 1. It could. I don't know why he put it later here at 1, but he put it at 1. Then it rallies here. You have climax into resistance. Climax into resistance, and the bar is a low end close and all that, so it goes back to position 3, so expecting a reaction. Then it goes down here at support, but there's no real climactic move at support, so it goes into neutral, then rallies and then takes its time and finally exhausts after 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 bars. It exhausts at support, put it back into position 1 for a rally. Okay, so there's already a bunch of so that this is the interplay of support, resistance, oversold, overbought, volume coming from climaxes, all that, like their interplay is creating this position 1 and 3. So far we see position 1 3 1 3 1 3. It's eventually going to go into 2. The base on the 1 point figure chart stretched out to a count of 11. The rally at N. Where the hell's the rally? Right there. So he says, okay, we'll get there. At L it goes to neutral. Yeah, I know that. 2 weeks still. So it exhausts itself here. Yeah. So reasoning that that it is now ready to go up without further material reactions, you put it into 2. Why? I think it has to do with the lack of volume that came out on that last bar. At L it goes into neutral. Okay, back to 30. It stays in this position until it reaches M. Okay, where a 2 weeks dull sagging movement exhausts itself into a support level without bringing any offerings on the strength of these bullish indications. So here it's actually position 1 and 2. Why? Because no volume. Okay, there. Okay, so we've gotten all of that. You know, all the, I guess, 85, 90% of whatever or more. So we've seen the back and forth between positions 1 and 3 until eventually it goes back to support. Float dries up, no volume, exhausts itself at support, and reverses upward. Okay, so remember the last bullish indications. Adele, it goes neutral, blah, 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 blah. 2 weeks, dull sagging movement. Dull movement. Alright. So why was this dull and sagging? This was dull and sagging to get rid of these guys. That's important fucking, yeah. Dull. Okay. So you see this rally here? This was a strong rally. So this dull sagging movement of 2 weeks is to get rid of people who came in at K and were interested. So you got to take them out. Anyway, they got to move on. Where? To N. Where is N? I don't know where N is. So, I can't find N. Oh, okay, it's the same chart. So N onwards. So at O, minor trend is neutral. L, M, N, O. So O, he goes neutral. Minor trend, remember. Neutral. At O, it's neutral. And intermediate trend is still 2. At B, it's the same thing. Neutral, 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 minor. And still in 2. position 2. Same. Oh, again. Hold on, guys. Alright, I'm back. So many interruptions. Anyway, so P and then Q, it's position 1. So Q is position 1 is bull rally. What is his logic? So he goes down, down. Wow, it shrinks right there. And it's on a hinge. So goes down, increase, low volume test. Mopped up. It's neutral at R. Then at S it goes back into position 1. Because of that break. At T, shortening of the thrust, climactic, shortening of the thrust on heavy volume, and finally reversal. Go back to neutral. Then at U, goes down, 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 down. Then bingo, right, right there. Back to position. I forgot which one. Position 1. At W goes to neutral. Where's W? So that's the breakout right there. Well, that's your shortening of thrust. And right around there, the force of demand has diminished. SOT, clustered closes, and position neutral. Not neutral, should be. Well, he's saying it's he's saying neutral, but I think it's ready to react. Then at X, position 1. See this thing goes. Bullish indication right there. Climax here. Ding, 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 ding. Low volume testing. T, float, dry. And then Y. doubt about that. Position 3, especially right there. See the high volume? You have high volume, you have climax, you have reversal, you have SOT. You have a climax right there, you have an SOT, and you have a low end close. Anyway, so that's the activity that you wanted to be completed. But you want to, when you do this activity, like, you have to have your reasons, and those reasons you learn from the prior studies. So let's just write down some of those reasons. It could be climax at resistance support. It could be price objective reached. Altogether, like, overbought, oversold. It could be a secondary test. It could be shortening of the thrust. All of those things together will together form the opinion. Do not just say it's high volume and yeah, it's going to reverse. Okay, you have to see if it's on top of a rally, and then is there shortening of the thrust? Is there a reversal? Is there any confirmation? Because high volume you can have follow through. So you want to see the follow through after that. And don't confuse climaxes with breakouts. Like right here, that's a breakout. Right there is RS. At S, it's in position 1. Why? Because it's a breakout. So you have tightening, absorption, whatever, low volume here, and then that's breakout right there. So don't confuse the breakout with the volume at top of a trend. Alright. Anyway, so position 3, because why is it in position 3? Anyway, at Y. Position 3 is a reaction. It's shortening of the thrust and heavy volume and all of that. It's actually after reward up there. The stock gets into position 3 at Y because excessively large volume has brought price up to the indicated 3-point figure chart objective, and the quick reversal on heavy volume plus inability to make further progress with this heavy volume. That's effort reward right there. He's not saying it, but that's inability to make further progress in proportion with this heavy volume. That's the definition of effort reward. Position 2 is allowed to stand for the time being, as we cannot tell yet whether the operator will elect to complete his campaign by distributing the balance of his stock on the way down, whether he may support it on a corrective reaction, and the finishing distribution and rallies back down. I don't know. All he's saying is, you can't say it's okay, it's a climax, game over, because after the climax on the pullback, you can have an operator that reaccumulates. You can have another operator reaccumulates and take price higher. You know, you don't want to be caught up in a Bitcoin situation when it was in a bull rally all the way to 20,000. Anyway, also our figure charts do not as yet show any evidence of a top forming. So you don't have a top forming, which leads us to conclude that the two positions should be allowed to stand. So remember, it's in position 2, and then it was flipping and flopping also in position 1 and 3, like, because 2 indicates markup, but you have rallies and reactions in that markup phase. So those rallies and reactions what he's doing, he's taking a look at the rallies and reactions and putting them in position 1 and 3. Okay, while it's already in position 2, because these are rallies and reactions within markup. So it's in position 2 and it's in position 1. It's in position 2 and it's in position 3. Alright, and it keeps on flipping and flopping between position 2 and 1, as well as position 2 and position 3. So now what happens? So there's no heavy distribution, so you can't put it in position 4. Let's see. Okay, so now at Z, what are we doing at Z? At Z, the minor trend indicates position 1. Well, how does it do that? Z, X, Y, Z. So it's coming to support at, and volume dries up. Alright, that makes sense. So that must have been the climax right there. So you have your climax plus low volume at support. So you enter position 1. Yeah. So now it's still in position 1 and 2. At AA, so goes up, up, bingo. You have your climax. So we have here and the confirmation. What the hell? The minor trend indicates position 3 and position 2 is changed definitely to position 4. I don't think so. Alright, at BB it goes back into position 1 and position 4 is cancelled. Alright, position BB. Where's BB? So that's your abrupt climax here. And your low volume at support. So you go back into position 1 and 4 is cancelled. So after that, Support comes in at Z and again at BB, suggesting that the trading range may turn out to be an area of absorption for a new advance of 12 points. What the hell? Turn the vertical chart upside down? He turned the chart upside down. Alright, so at CC, it's in 1 and 2. So it's in P1, P2 at CC, and then DD 5 and 2. Absolutely, it's 5 and 2. I would even say it's ready to react, but position 5B2, and number 7, it's in 1 and 2. What the? I don't see numeral 7. At FF, it's in 3 and 5. FF. Ooh, that's too much volume. P3, P5. FF right there. So it's ready to react. It's kind of shot up there. KK, it is 1 and 5. Probably because of the declining volume. So ready for another bull advance. I think this was reaccumulation over here. LL, it's 3 and 5. this is the right place to say 3 because you have a resistance level. Very nice resistance level right across here. Shit. So now you have that. So it's 3 and 5 there. So what happened here was this was reaccumulation to take it back to the higher prices in order to sell. So they got the best prices up here and then it went down. So they want to rally it one more time to resistance and sell it. So P3 indicates a reaction from resistance. P5 means the longer term trend is neutral. At MM it's a 5-5. P5 and P5. And then finally, at NM, it's 3-5. NM. It's 3 and 5. 3 and 5. P5. So it rallies and then no follow through. There's your effort right there and your reversal, your break. With the above illustration before you, you should next practice assigning positions to the balance of the charts and to the situation addressed in these sections over and over again. You can decide what positions are developing, mark these on your charts as you go along with the help to fix the idea of determining positions still more firmly in your mind. If you have any difficulty, contact us. That will be hard to do, but anyway, here's a little checklist from what I've gathered. Alright, so for positions 1 and 3, positions, which are basically bull and bear rallies. What do you need? You need, ideally, this is ideal, but these are the factors that would influence position 1 and 3. First subtype of level, SNR level. 2, exhaustion. So just write a climax. Okay, and it'd be ideal if the climax had plus reversal. It's pretty important to have that. So support and resistance level, climax, reversal, other factors. What else? It could be overbought and oversold positions. What else is there? 4, SOTs and clustered closes, what they call hinges. Hinge. So that could also be it. Climax or ER. It's the same thing. This is high volume. You could also have 2A would be climax plus low volume testing afterward. That'll do it. Or you could just have it doesn't necessarily need to have a climax. It could be just low volume. But the idea of the climax is that there's some type of exhaustion. Okay, so this is some of the important thing. But I think the most important thing is your levels, the behavior at the levels. That will set up the trade. I'll do it pretty good. Alright, so I think this chapter is done. This is a very worthwhile chapter. I think it's very important because now you're going from Now you're going into judgment, and you're going into actually reading the market and identifying the turning points, and like having a judgment on the turning point, which I believe is the basis for trading the turning point. Right? Alright, that's all, folks. Chapter's done. Next is this buying and selling test. What this is.